Welcome to The Gaggle, where we bring you inside the newsroom to talk about Arizona politics beyond what's in print and in pixels. I am Mary Jo Pitzel. I am filling in for the vacationing Michael Squires. This week, we will be talking about a legislative strategy conference and what that might mean for Arizona. We're going to discuss the curious case of a Mesa councilman's DUI plea. But we start with Senator John McCain's return to the U.S. Senate days after announcing a cancer diagnosis. Ron, what did the senator have to say, and what is the import?
You know, I think the most basic import is that he could do it at all. This is less than a week after being diagnosed with a very serious brain tumor. The fact that he made it to Washington, was able to present himself at such a critical moment on the Hill, I think was symbolic and powerful in its own right. His message was pretty basic. It's, you know, we need to work together. We need to find a way to move ahead on tough issues like the health care bill that is in front of them at the moment. But he was also sort of tweaking President Trump, I think, in some ways, reminding the senators that they are co-equals and that this government needs to be cooperative moving forward. So it was kind of an interesting message that had several layers to it, it seemed.
Do we have any immediate sense if the Senate's going to heed McCain's advice?
Boy, I'd bet against it. Just Washington being what it is these days, I would not hold out great hope.
And did he present any kind of plan on his own for what this healthcare compromise could be?
He wasn't super specific about healthcare. I mean, this speech was given in the spirit of, like, what are we doing to move ahead on this particular issue? But the fact is that what he was talking about was really past that and talking about the conduct of the Senate in Washington more generally. What he didn't note as it related to healthcare, though, was that he wanted to see elements of Doug Ducey's recommendations incorporated into any bill that he would ultimately support. So there was a kernel there of it and something to watch.
And his call for bipartisanship and his call to, you know, return to the regular order is something that we've heard a lot of. I think it was just heightened drama because of comes against the backdrop of his diagnosis and his surgery, and certainly, you know, his colleagues were there to welcome him with open arms. And even if they don't necessarily agree policy-wise on how to move forward, a lot of ovations for him and his future.
Now, Yvonne, you're recently back from Denver, where you attended the American Legislative Exchange Council conference. Quickly, what is that, and what might it mean for our Arizona legislature?
Well, this is a group that pushes bills and policies that are focused on federalism, states' rights, free market. We had about 20 or so lawmakers from Arizona. We had a very good representation there.
Out of 90.
Per normal. Yeah. They got prime seating. They were very involved in workshops, and they attended a lot of receptions and a lot of dinners. This is a sometimes controversial group because of their financial backers, including the Koch brothers, very well-known figures here in Arizona. They provide model legislation to lawmakers and policymakers on an array of issues, and some of those policies have been introduced and have become law here in Arizona.
Such as empowerment scholarships, vouchers?
ESAs, Arizona's version later became model legislation. And it was really interesting to see how Arizona ranks nationally among this conservative libertarian group. We had several members on stage, including Senator Debbie Lesko, who introduced our school voucher bill this year and was on stage moderating a talk with the U.S. Secretary of Education.
Well, that's pretty high profile for our senator. I'm also interested, Jessica, in Mesa Councilman Ryan Winkle's DUI plea.
So Ryan Winkle, as you guys probably have heard, he was arrested in May on suspicion of DUI. This week he took a plea deal for 6 days in jail, 49 days home detention. So he did have a very high blood alcohol content. It was 0.22 when it came back. But he pleaded down to just an extreme DUI as opposed to a super extreme DUI, which is above 0.2. From the attorneys I talked to, usually you're looking at pleas around 3 or 4 days in jail, 5 to 9 days home detention. So just the amount of home detention he took was pretty lengthy.
Why?
Well, what they're saying is that they wanted to get this done with as quick as possible. They did not want to go to trial. They did not want to have to plead directly to the judge. And so they just took whatever was offered to him.
Now, Jessica, what will you be watching for in the coming week?
I will be continuing to follow this saga and see if Ryan will actually be able to return to the council. Right now he's on a voluntary suspension, and he mentioned last week at his plea deal that he hopes to be back on council as soon as his jail time is done, if possible.
We'll be watching for that. What about you, Ron?
Yeah, I want to see if the House puts any of that money for Donald Trump's border wall into the budget. Let's see if that gets passed.
Okay, and Yvonne?
There are murmurings that there could be a legal battle against the school voucher referendum front, and so I'm interested to see if those will come to fruition if they get enough signatures.
Well, tune in next week. We'll see if any of these things happen, and I will be watching for Michael Squires' return.